There are many other adults who are there to support you to realise your rights, including advocacy providers, law centres and the courts. The UNCRC Act is an important step in further protecting your rights. It ensures that key decision makers listen to your views and is helping to make Scotland the best place in the world to grow up.
Hello, my name is Lucinda and I'm the Director of UNICEF UK in Scotland. The babies, children and young people in this report express their clear needs and desires for a Scotland where they can grow up to have the best start in life. They see a society where they can thrive without fear of judgment and are supported to participate in decisions that affect their lives. One quote that stands out to me in this report is from Gerald, a 10-year-old from North Lanarkshire. He shared, "People talk about children's right, but it just feels like talking. I'm in a rights-respecting school and we learn a lot about our rights. I love learning about my rights, but it's really hard when the adults in charge don't take us seriously. The council don't reply to letters and emails we send. They don't get involved in the things we ask them to. So it doesn't feel that children's rights are as important as adult rights because adults always do what they want and there is nothing children can do about it." I chose this quote because it emphasises the importance of educating children about their rights and their desire for genuine involvement from adults. It highlights the potential for positive change where children's voices are actively listened to and highlights the significance of the UNCRC, which was passed into Scottish law in January this year. This affirms the right to education and the necessity for babies, children and young people to be heard and respected. Reflecting on Gerald's words, one key takeaway for me is the importance of meaningful engagement with children. It is crucial that we as adults, parents, carers and other duty bearers commit to listening to and valuing the voices of babies, children and young people. We must ensure that their voices are at the heart of the decision-making process.
So I think first and foremost, the thing that sort of stood out to me from the few videos that I played there, as well as some of the documents and whatnot that I've been having a wee skim through, is the references to babies. It's one thing to metaphorically blow smoke up the arse of children and try to give them the impression that their politicised minds and their views that subsequently come off the back of said politicisation are just as important as that of an expert or an adult or whatever. Right, that's one thing. But now we're talking about babies. I mean, do these people fucking hear themselves? But again, yet more examples of just blatant propaganda in terms of Scottish education. To be honest, the PDF that's linked to the website that I've got on the screen just now is like over 200 pages, and I sure as hell will not be going through all that in this video. But I've also come across something else just in the last couple of minutes, which is related to this same website actually, which is equally, arguably, as bizarre and well, let it speak for itself to a certain extent. But regardless, before I do so, I'll go through this website briefly, or article even. So this was from the 6th of December, our Children's Rights Report, 2024. And right there, man. Over 200 babies, children and young people have shared their powerful stories of what life is like for them. Oh yeah, I'm sure the babies had so much to... Oh, I don't know. It's just so creepy, eh? But regardless, the publication marks 1 year since the Scottish Parliament unanimously passed the UN Convention on the Rights of the Child. This historic legislation made Scotland the first devolved nation to incorporate the UNCRC into domestic law because we're the UN bitch, pretty much. As part of our Rights on Track campaign, the report serves as a foundation to monitor future progress and identify actions needed to improve children's rights across the country. The report captures the stories of babies. Oh yeah, sure it did. Children and young people aged 9 months to 17 years through words, artwork, film and other creative expressions, providing a vivid snapshot of childhood in Scotland, exploring children's experiences at home, nursery, communities and online, etc. Right, but then it's just this shit here is what I'm talking about. Children and young people identify critical areas where urgent action is needed, including poverty, discrimination, climate change, and tackling violence. Oh yeah, climate change. Yeah, I'm sure. This is what one about. They have a right to be listened to and taken seriously. They have a right to a healthy environment, which is again, it's another way for them to effectively, subtly, if you will, incorporate more climate change bollocks into the curriculum because they have a right to a healthy environment and they have a right to be listened to and taken seriously. They have a right to have their views heard. They have a right to have an input and a say when it comes to decision making, things that affect their lives. So, when you put all those things together, if the planet's burning to a crisp as the days turn into weeks and we steamroll towards 2030 and onwards, it stands to reason children need to be educated on the matter. It's also interesting to note as well that the UNCRC, it was children that initially were campaigning in the country. There was a movement several years ago. It was children that were demanding and for the UNCRC to be incorporated into Scots law. It's funny how that works. Regardless, so come to the PDF. This is, as I say, 200 plus pages. But State of Children's Rights in Scotland. I'll just show you the contents briefly, just so you can see life at nursery, school and college, life in the local community, life online, life in Scotland. And this is where I will focus on in relation to this particular PDF. Life in Scotland, yeah. So progressive, so bold, so compassionate. So it says here, beyond life at home, at school, and in the local community and online, children and young people also shared stories about life in Scotland as a whole. They shared what they liked, disliked, and what they wished they could change to make Scotland a better place for everyone. Common themes included putting children's rights into practice, and relating issues of tackling poverty and ensuring equality and diversity. Oh, yeah. Was that the babies that had that to say, or was that the politicised teenagers, etc.? Who knows? On a broader scale, children and young people spoke to global issues such as the need to put an end to wars and violence and to stop climate change. Of course they did. Very commendable, of course, to want to stop wars and violence, etc. But this is what I'm talking about. Like, this bullshit, it's just a total red herring. It's an excuse. It's a fucking excuse. Not that they need an excuse, but it's a legalized excuse to politicize children in this country. That's what I've tried to point out for years, to no avail for the most part, by and large. But, anyway. Just children's rights. Children and young people see incorporation of the United, or the UNCRC, whatever, into Scots law is an important first step towards making their rights real. I failed to see what rights they didn't necessarily have before this was implemented into law. I mean, we're not a third world country yet. I'm struggling here. And then you'll hear the arguments from some people that it's, they'll point to examples such as, like, it gives children in the care system additional rights, etc. That's fine. You could have easily implemented some form of bill, etc., in specifically for those children, that demographic. But that's just part of a much broader issue here, which is the entirety of this UNCRC shite. To them, it symbolises recognition and commitment, and those who campaign for it are viewed as rights champions. Oh, yeah, such fluffy words. Human rights defenders, rights champions, etc., etc. God. While celebrating UNCRC incorporation, children and young people are concerned about the gaps between what is said in law and what happens in their daily lives. Children and young people highlight the variety of areas where action needs to be taken to ensure their rights are fully implemented into practice, including rights-based laws, increased awareness and understanding, building children's rights into budgets, and doing much more to involve children and young people in decision-making. And of course, since they've got a right to be listened to and taken seriously, we better, or local authorities and whatnot, they better be taking heed of these demands. Children and young people identify that changing the law can have a powerful impact in driving culture change. One example is the law on equal protection. Adults are good in Scotland. An adult made it so you couldn't hit children. Oh, that's nice. Children and young people feel that beyond incorporation, further legislative changes are needed to uphold their rights. One area of focus is the law around age limits. Children and young people feel that the current law is not always consistent. A children's human rights approach to reviewing these laws requires consideration of whether the purpose of the age limit is to uphold a protection right or a participation right. They also feel more can be done to improve awareness and understanding of their rights. This applies to parents and carers, professionals, organisations, and all levels of government. But the point is here, though, that where are they getting these ideas from? Whether they're demanding action on climate change or gender inequality, or if they're just saying that more needs to be done in order to improve awareness and understanding. I mean, there's a glaring irony there, surely, because they seem to know a hell of a lot about their rights, but yet they still seem to be of the belief and of the impression that more needs to be done to encourage or improve awareness, etc. That's the point is, though, that the fact that they're speaking about it kind of indirectly points to the fact that there's already a good fucking portion of the curriculum that seems to be all about improving their awareness on said subject as it is. It's almost as if part of the awareness improvements, it's like page 1, when they start to learn about their rights in the wee textbooks, the first page must be all about what more needs to be done in order to improve awareness. It doesn't make sense to me, but I guess I'm not a child, am I? So, children might not know what a right is. As we have already seen in children's stories about life at school, there are mixed experiences of the extent to which children are supported to learn about their rights in education settings. Children's rights budgeting. Oh my fucking God. A common theme is a desire for genuine and inclusive opportunities to take part in decision making. This was the most frequently mentioned issue when children and young people were asked about life in Scotland and the role of adults around them. Oh my God. Adults should listen to our opinions. They don't have to do everything that children say, but they must value and listen to their ideas. Again, though, if every child up and down Scotland was demanding that the government stops in its tracks pursuing anything to do with net zero, etc., do you really think these children be listened to and taken seriously in that regard? I beg to differ. It's so nefarious. I mean, these children are being taught, they're being convinced, and they're being led to believe that they're actually on an equal playing field, so to speak, as that of an adult, intellectually speaking. But on top of that, they're being led to believe that their opinions actually mean jack shit to the people in positions of authority and whatnot. But again, it's only when their opinions match exactly what the government would have wanted them to come away with in the first place. Hence why the curriculum in Scotland, and not just Scotland, but in this particular instance, that's why the education system in Scotland is so heavily politicised, with your global citizenship education, learning for sustainability, and all the bullshit that comes with that as a subsequently. So then children in turn start to sort of regurgitate what they're learning in school, all these political talking points, and lo and behold, all of a sudden, they have a right to be listened to and taken seriously. Now their views and opinions valued and whatnot. It's funny how it works. I would argue it's grooming. But hey-ho, decision makers don't tend to listen. Young people have spoken at events, but nothing is getting done. Oh, right, aye. Oh, dearie me. Let's see what else there is before I go into the second PDF. There is so much to go through in this, but young people express strong views on voting rights, with many highlighting that while they can vote at 16 in Scottish elections, they have to wait until they're 18 to vote in UK elections. Children and young people feel that votes at 16 is an important route for them to have a say in how Scotland is governed. Oh, God. Jesus, man. Let's see what else there is, because there was stuff about racism and climate change and whatnot. Children and young people are clear that not everyone has the same chance to succeed in today's Scotland. They call for action against poverty, racism, sexism, disability, discrimination, and other injustices to build towards a more fair and equal society. And where, I wonder, did these children regardless of whether or not they're babies or if they're teenagers. I wonder where they're coming away with these talking points. I wonder where these opinions were initially formulated. I wonder. Tackling poverty. And then we've got, obviously, racism. Children and young people recognise many positives living in Scotland. Issues of racism, prejudice and sectarianism persist, creating barriers to the truly inclusive Scotland that they want to see. They call for action to address discrimination and to create a Scotland where everyone feels accepted and valued. Some children and young people feel that Scotland lacks diversity, suggesting that greater inclusion of different cultures and backgrounds is needed. Scotland lacks diversity, said the children. Many children and young people who have moved to Scotland from other countries report positive experiences, highlighting aspects of life that they enjoy. That's good, I guess, makes a fucking change from all the moaning. For those who have faced racism, the experience can lead to feelings of exclusion and not fully belonging to the community. In the discussion among asylum-seeking young people, this sense of alienation was voiced clearly. Children and young people are vocal about wanting change and that Scotland needs to be a place where all forms of discrimination are actively challenged. Their vision for Scotland is one where diversity is celebrated and that no one is made to feel different or unwelcome due to their backgrounds or beliefs. Okay. And then we've got climate change should be down here as well. And then we'll go on to the other PDF. It's just fucking... Oh, dear. Oh, man. Should be here somewhere. Is that it? Here we go. One of the things children and young people love most about living in Scotland is its landscape and wildlife. Many stories share excitement for Scotland's environment and the freedom they have to explore it due to the right to roam. Many share a strong desire to protect the environment and combat climate change, and they know all about climate change, of course, because of what they're learning in their textbooks, but, hey-ho. Some point to actions already taken, such as Scotland's commitment to renewable energy. At the same time, there's a concern that some rural communities are facing the dual issues of a shortage of housing and farming practices that do not support wildlife. Several children spoke about the impact climate change is already having in Scotland, such as air pollution, increased storms and flooding. Oh, fuck off. At the same time, children who had moved to Scotland from another country felt that Scotland was a safer place as it had less extreme weather and was not prone to natural disasters. However, many call for more proactive solutions, such as improved public transport and stronger measures to reduce environmental harms. Was this the babies that were coming away with these intellectual talking points? I'm not sure. Overall, there's a strong desire for more to be done within Scotland globally to address climate change. Governments around the world are trying to make money, but these methods may involve changing the environment and destroying the livelihoods of people of poorer nations. I'm really disappointed in humanity for mistreating the world and making it come to this point, said the 13-year-old from Edinburgh. Icebergs are falling and melting, and penguins are dying, and polar bears are dying, said the 7-year-old from South Ayrshire. For every iceberg that they point to that's melting, there's plenty that are actually increasing in size and whatnot. As for the fucking penguins, this is like the polar bear BS all over again, isn't it? You know what I mean? But the fact of the matter is, this is a 7-year-old saying that. Where did the 7-year-old come away with these breathtaking fucking hot talking points, I wonder? It's just... They feel frustrated that those in power are not doing more to address the concerns and feel that climate change is not often a priority for decision makers. As highlighted earlier in the report, their calls include improving education on climate change and sustainability. Of course. And then you've got this one as well. New toolkit launched to help professionals involve babies and young children in decision making. Yes, that's right. Babies. Yes. It's fucking so ridiculous. What happened to just letting kids be kids? You know what I mean? Yeah. A new toolkit's been released to guide professionals and practitioners on how to listen to and involve babies, toddlers, and young children in decisions that impact their lives. The toolkit seeks to support implementation of the UNCRC, Article 12 of which guarantees all children under 18 the right to have their views heard and taken into account when decisions are made that affect them. How convenient. How very, very convenient. And here's the PDF in question that's related to that article. I'm not going to go through all that, 70 plus pages, but just obviously I'll leave the links below. But toolkit is about how to listen to babies, toddlers, and young children and involve them in decision making on matters that affect their lives. Contains guidance, advice, and examples of good practice. involving children in decision making for professionals and practitioners who work with babies, toddlers, and children under the age of 5. All children under the age of 18 have a right to have a voice in decisions that affect their lives, according to the UNCRC. Of course, that's why it was in the fucking first place. But, I'm sure there's a lot of climate-related enthusiasm going on in that wee girl's head. Or can I even call her a wee girl at this point? I don't know. I don't want to assume, should I? Very bigoted of me. The toolkit can be used by those who work with and support young children and is particularly useful for those who work with children in a professional role. Oh, it's just mental. Like, fucking hell, man. This model provides a pathway to help conceptualize Article 12 of the UNCRC, focusing on 4 distinct, albeit interrelated elements. The 4 elements have a rational, chronological order: space, voice, audience, and influence. Yes. Oh, dearie me. It's just, honestly, I don't know. Make it a part of everything you do. Build the involvement of children in decision making in everything you do and make it an essential approach in your professional practice. Be in the here and now. Young children make decisions based on how they feel, what they think, and what they want to do in real time on life and concrete happenings in their lives. And concrete happenings in their life. Support children to make sure you and other key adults support and contribute to children's participation in decision making. Invite children to participate in decision making using slow approaches in which they are interacting with trusted adults over time. Be inclusive and responsive to the individual stage of development, ability, needs, including additional needs, views, and interests of each child, so that all children can take part in decision making. Oh, for fuck's sake. Seek children's blue sky thinking. Get children's own original views and thoughts rather than giving them the opinions of other people, which can limit their thinking. The absolute gall, temerity, audacity, and just the joke that is just remarkable, you know. It doesn't matter what article you read, what PDF you go through, it does not matter what political organization. Every single time children are asked for their views, every single time children are given the ability to say what they're thinking, they all come away with the same bullshit, such as climate change, racism, etc., etc., etc. Where are they getting that from? Oh, that's right. We've been spoon-fed it via the curriculum, which has been designed by the very same... I was going to swear there, but I'm trying to be nice. But it's designed by the very same people who in turn are shaping, moulding these children, politicizing them, effectively turning them into activists to a certain extent. And then they've got the temerity to come out after the fact and say that, you have to let children come out with their own opinions, let them form their own opinions. You fucking people, honestly. Oh, see if there's anything about climate here before I end this. I don't think there is. Oh, well. Regardless, you get the point, I think. I don't know.